are we moved by music? Does music evoke emotion and pleasure? Many of us who love music generally have no difficulty believing in its power to stip the heart and change our mood. However, popular beliefs in the mind-altering power of music tend to fall into two divergent camps: a passionate optimism about the universally beneficial effect of the music on the listeners, or an equally fervent belief that music, particularly unfamiliar music, is a tool of evil by which the young and impressionable can be included to aggression, violation, and self-harm. Key minds throughout the centuries, however, have argued for a more balanced viewpoint concerning music's effect on the listener. Aristotle, for example, argued that for some people, music can excite the soul to a mystic excitement, while others would find their souls lightened and delighted, or would enjoy an innocent pleasure in music. Therefore, he believed that music of all rhythmic and tonal modes should be employed, but not all of them in the same manner. In other words, he acknowledged that different musical features have a different effect on the mood and that these effects would vary from individual to individual. Steven Pinker has notoriously referred to music as auditory cheesecake, claiming that music is nothing but a pleasant artifact of the process of evolutionary selection rather than something necessary for our survival. However, most activities that are important for the survival of the species, such as eating and reproduction, are also pleasurable since the brain is geared up to reward adaptive behavior. Several reasons for the widespread interest in music in human culture have thus been based on the ideas arising from evolutionary theory. Theories about the evolutionary function of music date right back to Charles Darwin. Darwin proposed in his book Descent of a Man that music was important in the process of sexual selection, arguing that musical ability was in a sense the human equivalent of the peacock's tail. However, other theorists have proposed a convincing explanation for the role of music in promoting human survival. Many of these theories argue that music conferred some kind of social benefit on our ancestors, which promoted survival by assisting individuals to form an alliance in group settings. For example, one theory suggests that music developed as a kind of pre-verbal communication between parents and children in a way of checking the well-being of the offspring when caregivers had to move away from a child to gather food. The fact that singing is still important in parent-child bonding today is that children are born with some innate abilities to decode and remember music tends to support this argument. Other theories focus on how music, particularly its rhythmic aspect, can help to train the coordination of movement in group activities that may have been important for hunting and gathering. Entertainment, which is the capacity to synchronize to an external rhythm, is present in very few animal species. Even primates show little ability to move the fingers in time to an external beat. However, humans can entrain to beats of varying tempi and often do so unconsciously, which is a capacity that would have made it easier for members of groups to work together to achieve common goals. Another social benefit music is argued to have conferred on our ancestors are the enhancement of cognitive and social skills, which is simply an ability to tune into the emotion that other people are expressing and the power to confer a sense of importance within rituals as well as to enhance learning. Thus, many reasons can be proposed to explain why we find music so pleasurable and enjoyable. No one theory is absolute, as there is always a scope of more research on every theory out there. But what we do know is that music can invoke strong, warm responses, both chills and thrills in audiences. Moreover, the ability of music is universal. If you enjoyed this video, do a like, comment and subscribe to Explified. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Bye!